Radical.
I have replaced just about everything I could think of. My car, well, one of my cars, the 94 Sentra, was stalling out at a stoplight. It would start right back up, but it was stalling mostly at a stoplight. I went to a mechanic and they told me it was the alternator. And you know what? I thought to myself, maybe it does need an alternator. I noticed the headlights were a little dim at night. I have a kicker system in that car, so I'm like, okay, alternator. Spent about 250 some putting that on. I could probably put on the alternator, but I was like, for 250. They bought the part too. Not too bad. Okay, so the alternator was put on. And then started doing the same exact thing. What I had replaced then was an idle air control valve because there was an idle problem. The car would idle down and then stop. So I had that replaced. After I put the idle air control valve on, it seemed like it did worse. And I noticed when I was picking it up, it was parked to the side, and they didn't usually say that what they usually say, which is, they're positive and they say, hey, it's all fixed, all ready for you. He wasn't around. The receptionist was there. So I was thinking that's kind of weird. So on the way home, it stopped off once. And I said, oh, hell, here we go, After that, I myself bought a mass airflow sensor because I noticed the top of the mass airflow sensor, a part of it was a little bit broken off. So I said, what the hell? Sluggish, bad idle, mass airflow sensor. No harm in that. I think it's been years since I replaced it. So I replaced a mass airflow sensor. What after that did I have replaced? It's hard for me to keep track. After that, I went to a shop, and they told me it was getting a check engine light. I forget exactly what the check engine light was. They said I needed a computer. 2 weeks it took for them to order the computer. And it wasn't their fault. It was the people they ordered from. They had to program it, yes, but I was told 2 to 7 days. It took almost 2 weeks to get that. And once they got it, put it in, and the pricing was fair there. Seemed like good people, right? Good people. So older gentleman seems like he's not really that quick in the head, because maybe he's like 80. I'm not sure. He's an older fella. Far older than even Scotty Kilmer. So then after that, you guessed it, still doing the same fucking thing. I take it back and I say, hey, you know what? Here's what I think it is. So it's at this point, I'm coming up with ideas of what I think it is. I think it could be the throttle position sensor. And they nod their head and agree, okay, we'll put the throttle position sensor on there. They put it on there. Well, first, before that, he adjusts the idle, because I'm thinking it could be something simple like an idle issue. Maybe it's idling down because the idle screw needs adjusting. He adjusted it, and it didn't stop off as much, but it drove noticeably worse. So there was a correction. It was a bit of a correction, but then it still did the same thing, mostly on a hot day. Overnight, people think I'm crazy. I said it would drive okay at night, but during the heat, a hot day, it would start to shut off. Oh, by the way, I had the fuel system checked. The fuel pump, not the fuel pump. You're thinking, could be the fuel pump. That's why it's shutting off, not getting enough fuel. No, not the fuel pump. And I don't think it's the injectors, because there would be a noticeable miss. Plus, I replaced the injectors a little over a year ago. I know some can be bad, but you would probably know quick if it's the injector, right? Also, the fuel filter, pretty good. Okay, so let's keep track here. I didn't make a list. First off, I had the alternator, then the idle air control valve, then the mass airflow sensor, then the computer, then the throttle position sensor after an idle adjust. So I have all that done, and I go driving last night, and the acceleration really wasn't that great. I'm thinking, okay, all right, it's doing better. And I was thinking maybe it had something to do with the AC, because maybe it's in my head, but it seemed like it would shut off more or less when the AC was on. It seemed like it would shut off more often when the AC was on during a hot day. I don't know if that maybe is relevant. I'm not sure. So I had it on too, went for about a 30-minute drive, kept it running the entire time, went to the car wash, kept it setting, didn't shut off once. That was last night. Today, it got to be maybe like 90, 95 when I tried to start it. It did not start. Oh, let me add this. Last night, it actually didn't, after it started and I got back home, here's the weird thing. After it got back home and after it had been driven for a while, maybe heat has a factor here. After the engine heated up and I got home and I was cleaning out the car, kept it running, it shut off. And I was like, oh, hell, here we go again. Started it up, and then the lights on the radio went off. And I thought, okay, battery issue. Maybe the battery is bad. Replace the alternator. Maybe the battery is affecting something. So I said, fuck it. I'll go and get a $60 cheapo battery, new battery at Walmart. Because at this point, I'm like, okay, I'm just throwing shit at the wall, seeing what sticks. Put the battery in there, got everything secure, 100%, started it up, and less than a minute later, shut off. Engine, and I have a sound here. I'm not sure if I was able to add the sound. I might add the sound after this or before this, so you can actually take a listen to, some of you mechanics, and see what you actually think. Shut off, so not the battery. Now, I saw some smoke. I know there's some smoke that comes off the headers. By the way, I have Monzo headers on the front of this. I saw like a lot of steam coming from the headers. And I'm not a mechanic, but I went up under and I saw like a little tiny hole in some condensation, a little bit of water. So I was like, okay, there's a hole in there, but it's supposed to, they leave a hole there, I think. You know, again, I'm not a freaking mechanic, but they leave a hole there and there's steam coming off of it. Okay. But it seemed like a lot of steam, not coming from the engine, not white smoke, nothing's blown. I don't think it's the engine, but there was a lot of steam coming from up under the exhaust. And I know it's normal, especially during a hot day, but it seemed like more than regular amount of steam. So I think maybe in the exhaust system. Oh, by the way, I already have an O2 sensor bought. I haven't put it on because, again, I'm throwing shit at the wall. I'm replacing the entire car. Why not? O2 sensor. And I might have an EGR valve issue, might be a throttle body. I find it hilarious. None of these mechanics mentioned, hey, because again, I'm not a mechanic. They should have mentioned, hey, we'll maybe try to clean out your throttle body. And I would say to her, but I'm not a mechanic, but I would guess if that's my job, if you're having an idle problem and poor acceleration, maybe they would mention throttle body or cleaning your EGR valve. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm completely, almost utterly out of fucking ideas. Not the fuel system, fuel pump fine, not the idle air control valve, not the mass airflow sensor, not the computer, replace the entire computer, and I don't really know what to do. I don't know where to go from here. I called this one place, and they specialize in foreign cars from the 90s, and they said, we can check it. It sounds like you might have an electrical issue, and they said, you might have to take it to the dealer. I'm like, fuck, I'm not taking it to the dealer. I take it to the dealer, they would have me pretty much buying a brand new Nissan is what they would do. I'm not taking it to the fucking dealer. Shit, I've already spent enough money. I'm not taking it to a dealer. Not paying dealer prices. I dream about the future to where this thing is beautifully, wonderfully restored. This car is a gem of a car when it's restored. Trust me, it is a wonderful driving car. It is just a wonderful car when they're restored. And there's not a whole lot of really nice... I don't know who the fuck that is. There's not a whole lot of nice 94 Sentras out there. And I'm dedicated... I'm just going to wait till this goes through. I don't know. Who the hell is this? I don't know who the hell it is. Nobody calling to help me with my issue, probably. I'll tell you that. So, yeah. Still waiting. There we go. Okay, you done? All right. So anyways, leave it in the comment section down below. Oh, and by the way, regular uploads on the channel. It's one reason I'm not uploading a lot, because I have a lot of shit going. I'm going with this. This is a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of looking online to try to figure it out. And maybe some of you certified mechanics can point me in some direction. I will appreciate it so much. Thank you. Take care.